comes courtesy of our friends over at The View. When I say our friends over at The View, I mean the low IQ idiots.
In a fiery dissection of daytime television's most controversial talk show, Ben Shapiro has once again taken The View to task. Known for his incisive critiques and rapid-fire debates, Shapiro delivered a thorough takedown of Whoopi Goldberg and the other panelists, leaving no stone unturned in exposing what he considers the show's intellectual and moral failings. Shapiro's commentary sparked a wave of discussion across social media, reigniting debates about free speech, accountability, and the role of media in shaping public opinion. At the center of Shapiro's critique was Whoopi Goldberg's infamous Holocaust remarks, which remain one of the most controversial moments in the show's history. During a discussion about race, Goldberg claimed that the Holocaust was not about race, but rather man's inhumanity to man. The backlash to her comments was immediate, with critics accusing her of trivializing the systematic genocide of 6 million Jews. For Shapiro, who is Jewish, Goldberg's statement was not only factually incorrect, but also deeply offensive. Shapiro wasted no time dismantling Goldberg's argument. He pointed out that the Holocaust was explicitly about race, as the Nazis targeted Jews based on their racial identity rather than their religious practices. The Nazis themselves described Jews as a distinct and inferior race, a belief that underpinned their genocidal ideology. Shapiro argued that Goldberg's comments reflected a broader issue with The View, a platform where inflammatory and poorly researched opinions are often presented as facts to millions of viewers. For Shapiro, the Holocaust is not just a historical event, but a cornerstone of understanding the dangers of unchecked hatred and bigotry. Reducing it to a vague notion of inhumanity diminishes the specific racial motivations behind it and risks distorting the lessons history has to offer. Shapiro's frustration was palpable as he emphasized the importance of historical accuracy, particularly when discussing events of such magnitude. But Goldberg's comments about the Holocaust were just one example of what Shapiro sees as The View's intellectual shortcomings. He also took aim at her comparison of the United States and Israel to terrorist organizations like Hamas and the Taliban. Goldberg's argument hinged on the idea that classifications of terrorism depend on perspective, a stance Shapiro found deeply troubling. He questioned how someone with Goldberg's platform could equate democratic nations with groups that openly commit acts of violence against civilians. Shapiro described Goldberg's comments as not only ignorant, but also dangerous, arguing that they contribute to a culture of moral relativism that undermines clear distinctions between good and evil. For Shapiro, the failure to challenge such narratives on The View is indicative of a broader problem in mainstream media, where controversial statements often go unchecked in the name of entertainment. Another moment that caught Shapiro's attention was Joy Behar's suggestion that terms like blackmail and black sheep are inherently racist. Behar argued that the English language needs to be re-examined to remove negative connotations associated with the word black. Shapiro dismissed this as a nonsensical argument, pointing out that such claims divert attention from meaningful discussions about racism and systemic inequality. He criticized what he sees as The View's tendency to focus on symbolic gestures rather than substantive solutions. Behar's commentary on education also drew Shapiro's ire. She claimed that young Americans aren't learning about crucial historical topics like slavery, Jim Crow laws, and Franklin D. Roosevelt. Shapiro countered that these topics are staples of American history education and suggested that the real issue lies in the politicization of the curriculum. He argued that an overemphasis on divisive rhetoric and identity politics has distracted from teaching the fundamentals of history. Perhaps one of the most contentious moments of Shapiro's critique was his response to Goldberg's comments about men and abortion. During a heated segment, Goldberg argued that men shouldn't have a say in debates about pregnancy and reproductive rights, framing it as an issue that exclusively concerns women. Shapiro highlighted the contradictions in this argument, pointing out that such an exclusionary stance conflicts with the left's broader emphasis on inclusivity and gender fluidity. He questioned whether Goldberg's comments inadvertently reinforced traditional gender roles, a stance that seems at odds with progressive ideology. Shapiro's critique extended beyond individual remarks to address the overall impact of The View on public discourse. He described the show as a circus, where sensationalism often takes precedence over substance. For Shapiro, the problem isn't just the misinformation, but the platform's influence. With millions of viewers tuning in daily, the show has the power to shape public opinion, making its lack of accountability all the more concerning. One of Shapiro's key points was the show's failure to foster meaningful debate. He argued that the panelists often echo each other's opinions, creating an echo chamber that reinforces their biases. When disagreements do occur, they are typically surface level, designed more to maintain the appearance of diversity of thought than to challenge underlying assumptions. This, Shapiro argued, deprives viewers of the opportunity to engage with different perspectives and develop a more nuanced understanding of complex issues. Shapiro's analysis also touched on the broader cultural implications of The View's approach to commentary. He argued that the show contributes to the polarization of American society by framing issues in black and white terms and vilifying those who hold opposing views. For Shapiro, this kind of discourse is not only unproductive, but actively harmful, as it deepens divisions and fosters resentment. Despite his criticisms, Shapiro acknowledged the entertainment value of The View. He described the show as a goldmine for political commentators, offering endless material for critique. However, he also emphasized the need for greater accountability, particularly given the show's wide reach. For Shapiro, the responsibility of media platforms extends beyond entertaining audiences to ensuring that the information they present is accurate and fair. The reaction to Shapiro's critique has been mixed. Supporters praised his willingness to challenge the narratives presented on The View, arguing that his analysis highlights the importance of critical thinking and intellectual rigor. Critics, however, accused Shapiro of being overly harsh and dismissive, arguing that his approach lacks the empathy and nuance necessary for constructive dialogue. Regardless of where one stands, it's clear that Shapiro's critique has struck a chord in striving for a more balanced and informed public discourse.